excited. We're all excited to have you join us today for the service. What a treat to have, and what a beautiful day for it. Actually, it's interesting to see the light coming in here from relative to the summertime when this is always shaded, so with all plenty of light. It is warming up in here on it, so welcome. A couple of things to note. We have a very exciting 4 weeks ahead of music, and I'll tell you about that, and also the things for next summer in terms of music. The first thing to talk about actually is you'll see that we have an organ here, a reed organ that's been here for quite some time. We're very excited coming up in probably the first of the year that our own Barbara Owens and your own Barbara Owens is donated her pipe organ here. So next year, when you're back next year, we will have a beautiful pipe organ here that Barbara is going to fill this space with wonderful organ music. We're very excited. So Barbara, thank you very much. I'm going to work backwards from next year backwards. Next year we're going to have 4 concerts here as part, in addition to our regular worship services. We will have a apple blossom, a summer solstice, fall equinox, and a harvest concerts here on the Saturdays and Sundays. The one we already have pinned down actually is the harvest one. Is we actually have the Apple Hill quartet, chamber quartet coming in from Western New Hampshire up near Keene. Very well-known chamber orchestra that is all Boston Symphony Orchestra players of it. And that's one of their, hopefully this will be one of their Seacoast homes. That'll be next October. For the fall equinox, we have things called Encore with Margaret Hurley on oboe playing and for the in the fall, and we're still working on the other two. Then starting next week, actually, we have the 12 Nights of Christmas. It's a collaboration we do with the Word Barn. This is our 3rd year of doing it. Fourth year of doing it. Our 2nd year of doing it live here. So starting on December 1st, coming on Friday, this is going to be all decorated up with Christmas decorations. And we have about 4 weeks worth of performances. Everything from, we start on Friday with a New Breton Celtic fiddle band. We have country western Christmas. We have acoustic guitar, Grammy Award-winning Ed Gerhardt here. Some choirs, Rock My Soul Choir. A really wide variety of it. And then on top of that, we have our traditional candlelight caroling sing here. Usually, in years past, we just did 1. We actually expanding it to 4. All of this is available on the you go to thewordbar.com, and they have tickets there for it. And David, also PortsmouthNH.com. PortsmouthNHtickets.com to buy tickets. It's a collaboration with the Word Barn. One extra word of note, Heck, is that during the program last year, we had people heard about the candlelight carol singing. We actually had a film crew come in and do film one of the sings last year, and that part is going to end up in a documentary on Christmas in New England. It's a half-hour documentary on various Christmas traditions. I think there's out in Stockbridge, there's a Christmas train down in Connecticut, there's the fishing boat parade in Gloucester, candlelight stroll up in Portsmouth, and the carol sing here. So I will make sure we put it out. It's actually going to be on at least New Hampshire Public Television 4 or 5 times, and Maine Public Television probably more. And it's actually here with heavily featuring our speaker Bobby Thompson and his singing unit. So thank you very much. Very excited to have you here, and make sure we do this again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is a joy to be here. We were remembering that we've come, the First Religious Society, Newburyport, UU in Newburyport, has been coming here for a time that we can't remember how long, but many, 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 many years in the summer. Though this may be the first time, at least that we remember, that we've come here at Thanksgiving. So it's a joy and a delight. And it looks like we're evening out, but in general, this side has been a little bit warmer because of the sun. So if you're uncomfortably cold, I would say move over here, and we'll be good. So thank you for being here, both in person and online. And if you're finding it difficult to hear me, just like wave, because I'm adjusting to this microphone. So yeah, let's bring ourselves here now for this service. And in honor of Thanksgiving and in honor of the day of mourning for our Indigenous partners, I'd like to open this service with a land acknowledgement. And I move and invite you to move into your hearts and your minds as we speak these words, perhaps in some ways the most important words we can say this morning. That we honor that we are located, that we are standing, we are sitting on land traditionally occupied for over 11,000 years before the colonists by the Abenaki people and their ancestors. Abenaki means the people, and it includes all of the tribes that called New Hampshire, including the Pennacook and the Kacheru near the coast. The Abenaki people and their language, their music, their drumming continue today. So we acknowledge that the spirit and therefore the heart of this land is your land, Abenaki people. Again, happy belated Thanksgiving and entry into December and the month of many holidays and festivals of light, of winter, and of her darkness. I'm so glad that you're here with us today in person and online. Today's service, you'll find the liturgy itself is a beautiful interconnected combination of the traditional service from Hampton Falls and the First Religious Society. So rather than trying to understand what's coming next or whose liturgy we're following, just surrender and enjoy. You should have an order of service which will have all the words that you'll be invited to speak in it. And let's begin there with the call to worship. Peace be unto you. Lift up your hearts. And our call to worship, again, words of Rosalie Amber Grace. You don't need an altar. Sit on the ground. Feel your lover's body. Watch the sky. You don't need a perfect daily practice. Wash the dishes. Feel the joy spreading through your chest, the ache of grief. Practice being here amidst the mess of being human. Nothing to transcend, just everything to come home to. Let's rise in body or spirit and join in the opening hymn number 141 in the hymnals in your pews. please remain standing and let's join in our chalice lighting words, followed by the affirmation of faith. As Hugh lights the chalice, the words again are in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Please be seated. We turn now to a time of sharing joys and sorrows of our gathered community. And I'll share first what has been sent to me in advance and then open it up for anyone who would like to share something with us this morning. And Hugh will light a candle as I do. We light a candle of joy as Minnie Flanagan shares the fulfillment of her joyous opportunity to purchase a home with her son and his family in the beautiful Hudson Valley, New York. Her alternate plan to long-term care insurance. How sweet it is. We light a candle of care and concern for FRS member Heidi Gowan and her beloved medical assistance support animal and family member named Lakota. Lakota needs a life-saving medical bone marrow treatment. Lakota's not merely a pet to Heidi. He provides the medical and emotional support she needs to manage in the world due to her disability. Please pray for the generosity of people to come forward and to help support Lakota to receive the medical care that he desperately needs. He will not survive without this life-saving medical care, and Heidi's health will decline without Lakota as her companion. Hugh Martinez asks that we light a candle this morning in blessed memory and to mourn the death of a great musician, mentor, and friend, Brian E. Jones, who passed away on November 17th. A renowned organist and choir director, Brian graced the First Religious Society with his talents when he played his very first professional organ gig there after graduating from Oberlin, and then many years later at the dedication of the church's newly renovated instrument, and he will be sorely missed. Megan Torchetti also asks that we please send prayers of healing on behalf of her friend Sarah and Sarah's family, who experienced the death of Sarah's oldest child last week. Sarah and her daughter, Nasturtia, were hit by another driver who was under the influence on their way home. Nasturtia was killed, and Sarah is currently still in the hospital in critical condition. Nasturtia was a 17-year-old senior in high school. The first, Megan says, the first of the babies born to our friends group, Next Generation. She was a strong, caring, and bright girl. And I'd open it up at this time for anyone who would like to just stand and share a joy or sorrow or concern on your heart this morning. Yes, please.
Why would you old people stand up together?
I don't know.
Happy anniversary. This young lady is Nancy Sullivan. My name is Robert Allison. And we were married in the First Religious Society in Newburyport 31 whole years ago.
Aw. So Nancy, I'm so sorry. And your name, sir?
Nancy Sullivan.
Yes.
Robert Allison.
So Nancy and Bob are sharing their 31st wedding anniversary. They met at FRS, and Justin's asked that I repeat for those online, and we're married in the church and are celebrating their anniversary this morning here. Happy anniversary.
Nice to be here, thank you. We used to be with those characters in the choir. They got wise to us and said, they can't sing a note.
Anyone else? Yes, John.
Good friend Daryl, who has just been diagnosed, very vibrant person, outdoor skier, backcountry skier, who was just diagnosed with brain cancer. Very difficult working with his family, so our thoughts and prayers go to him for recovery.
Yes. We're holding John's friend Daryl, a vibrant athlete and full of life who's just been diagnosed with brain cancer, for him and his family in our loving prayers. Woman.
One is a joy and a sorrow. So the joy is my son is safely in Minnesota, starting his new job. The sorrow is he's not less than an hour away to cook for me. Did you hear that, the white goose?
This is,
Joyful, sad, but mostly true.
yeah. Woman shares with us a joy and a sorrow as her son Elliot is safely in his new home and no longer less than an hour away and able to come in to cook for her. Donnie.
I'd like to do a prayer of joy for my 100-year-old mother who has now in assisted living, and she has playing bingo twice a week, and she's on a deathbed when I left.
Donnie is sharing a candle of,
I just want to say, so people who are very old need people.
a candle of joy for his mother who is 100 years old and who was on her deathbed when he last saw her, but now is in assisted living and getting hand massages, I believe, and playing bingo. And Donnie said that elderly people need people, and I would say we all need people. Okay. And we light a final candle this morning for all the joys and all the sorrows that, although unspoken, are held in just as much love and care. Let's rise in body or spirit again and join in our responsive reading by Henry David Thoreau entitled To Live Deliberately. The words are in your order of service. Why should we live in such a hurry and waste of life? I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life. I did not wish to live what was not life. Living is so dear. Nor do I wish to practice resignation unless it is quite necessary. I wish to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life. I want to cut the rocks off, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms. If it proves to be mean, then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it and publish its meanness to the world. For it is sublime to know it by experience and to be able to give the true account of it. Amen. Please be seated. Or as we often say at the First Religious Society, and since it is mean and sublime, we'll be able to give a true account of it. It's funny, I asked all of you to go with the flow of our order of service, and I am utterly confused about what comes next. But thank you for your kindness. All right. So, did everyone pick up 3 pipe cleaners as you came into the sanctuary? If so, are they already mangled? Or are they still in good order? Hold your pipe cleaners up if they're untouched, if you managed not to do anything to them yet. Okay, you are control freaks like me, or you obey rules very well, also a tendency of mine. Now, brave souls, raise your hands if your pipe cleaners have been already made into objects of creative expression. It's all good, though I took note of who just raised their hands. When we need rule breakers, so I invite us all now for just the next 10 or 12 minutes to actually place them down beside you, because we will be picking them up with intention in just a little bit. And if you didn't get them, you can raise your hand, and the ushers I know have plenty to pass around. For those of you online, you may want to grab a piece of paper that you could doodle on or draw on or even use to fold and make origami. If you happen to have pipe cleaners, please grab those too. It's also fine to just use your imagination. Okay, so we've gotten that all taken care of. If only life were that simple, right? If only. But it's not, and we all know that. Life may be more complicated than pipe cleaners. However, I would venture to say that life and pipe cleaners also share much in common. First, life and pipe cleaners come in many different colors. They are both about form and function or purpose, though we may have forgotten the original purpose of both of them. Pipe cleaners were invented by John Harry Stedman and Charles Angel in Rochester, New York in the early 1900s. Stedman, for those of you who may want to know this, Stedman also invented the streetcar transfer ticket in 1892. They sold the rights to pipe cleaners to B.J. Long Company, and that company still makes them today. Originally designed to clean pipes, pipe cleaners are now used for many other purposes, including arts and crafts and sermons given by Unitarian Universalist ministers. Other ministers use these things called this sacred text of a Bible, and we get to take pipe cleaners. As one of my Google searches revealed, pipe cleaners, and this leads us to one of their many connections to life, pipe cleaners clean with their, quote, long and flexible tools and can reach the narrow, unseen areas with ease. Sounds useful to life, doesn't it? Now, life, on the other hand, began with microscopic organisms 3.7 billion years ago. And the purpose of life? Well, that's been debated for as long as memory holds. So here's the thing. Both life and pipe cleaners can be taken for granted. We can assume they'll always be there, just as we expect them to be, and for whatever purpose we deem necessary. Life and pipe cleaners both invite us to be creative and to imagine things heretofore unseen. Both life, there's a fly up here? In case you wonder what I'm doing with my hands. I tried to pretend it wasn't here. I'm not taking it for granted. But the purpose, what's the purpose of the fly? Both life and pipe cleaners can be smoothed out when we make mistakes, or decide on a new direction. However, the impressions of those original forms always remains. The impressions of the early decisions is always there. Who we've been, what we experienced and believed, will always be a part of us. Always. Sometimes I think pop culture, and this will eventually lead us to Thanksgiving, by the way, but sometimes I think pop culture would have us try to eliminate parts of our stories, parts of our life, to smooth the pipe cleaner so flat that no one can tell it ever looked different than it does today. But that's impossible. Even if we throw the pipe cleaner away and think no one knows, we do. What if the purpose is not to try to erase the past, but to integrate it, to see its gifts, even in the hardest of times, even in the worst mistakes we've made, of which I believe there are actually few? What if humans, like pipe cleaners, are gifted with the ability to make new choices and designs, made all the more unique by the ripples of the previous forms and purpose? After all, anyone can take an orange pipe cleaner and make it into a circle, and they can even connect it to another pipe cleaner, like this. However, only this orange pipe cleaner can look exactly the way it does, even when it decides to reform or try a new way. So linking this to Thanksgiving, the holiday season, starting with Thanksgiving, runs the risk, I fear, of becoming cliche or full of what I call toxic positivity. This may or may not relate for you, but think of Thanksgiving. Be grateful, we are told. But only of feel-good things, or things that everyone feels comfortable talking about. So I want to break that norm right now and invite all of us to be grateful for what used to be, for mistakes we've made in life, because we all have, and for the decisions we wish we had made but didn't. Because that's gratitude in the rawest and most real of forms. That's gratitude that connects us with each other's humanity and humility and discourages death of spirit by comparison. So let's do that right now. Now I invite you to pick up one of your pipe cleaners, and you won't need to share with anyone. So just start with this one, and bring to mind something that you maybe before haven't necessarily been grateful for in your life. It may be a decision that cost you a lot of money, or a relationship. It may have been a mistake, or something that you needed to change in your life. When you have it in your mind, begin to form this pipe cleaner into something that reminds you of that. Again, just for yourself. And as you hold this pipe cleaner, as I'm doing with you, truly. I want you to bring that situation, decision, relationship, whatever it was, bring it to your mind right now in your heart. And imagine it just filling this pipe cleaner. Can you actually bring gratitude to this? What did this difficult thing, or regret, or failure teach you? How did it help to make you who you are today? Can you be grateful for its gifts, even if the gift is simply to keep you humble? If you don't feel grateful, can you start with acceptance? Acceptance that this happened. That you made that decision or didn't, or that it happened to you. And from that place of acceptance, can you feel compassion for yourself? Knowing you did the best you could at that time? I see my daughter in this heart. Who do you see? What do you see? Now pick up another pipe cleaner and bring to mind another thing or person or mistake or time period that you haven't been grateful for in the past, even if it's right now. And again, I invite you as you're thinking of this to make something that represents it just to you. And as you're looking at this and feeling it and remembering it, ask yourself the same question. What did this teach you? How did it help you become who you are today? Can you be grateful for this? And if not, can you accept it and feel compassion for yourself? Ask if you want the two things you've made to be connected in any way or not. And if you're so moved, you may want to pick up your third pipe cleaner and do this process again. This time, in addition to remembering this or bringing it to your mind and your heart, I ask if you can forgive yourself for whatever this is or was. And see if you want them to all be connected or not. And look at what is in your hands or your hand. Now see all three of these things as interconnected in your story, in your life. These things are part of you and your life story. They've played important roles even if we don't yet see exactly how. I invite you to either keep your creations, or if you're moved, to bring them forward to this altar of thanksgiving, where they can be a part of the community of other unlikely sources of gratitude. An altar of realness. That's what we'll create. Kind of like the land of misfit toys from Rudolph, we're going to make an altar of mistakes, tough times, and regrets. If you're so moved, I'd invite you to come forward, and if that's challenging, I bet a neighbor will do it for you.
Anyone who'd like to take yours up here?
What a beautiful, colorful, disastrous mess we've made. I hope someone, at least a couple of you, might come up at the end and take photos of this so we can share it and remember it. I want you to realize, in looking at this and being here with all of us, that this is life. This is real. There is not a person among us, and the Buddha taught this about anyone in the world, who hasn't known sorrow, who hasn't made a mistake they perhaps learned they would have done differently at a different time in their life, who doesn't have regrets or things we wish could be different. So I ask you, now that we've done this and found a place in us to be vulnerable, thank you, and to be maybe grateful and to be reflective and hopefully accepting, to be even forgiving. Now I'll ask you what we're often asked at Thanksgiving tables. So what are you grateful for? I wonder if it feels different. Have you made a little more space to feel grateful for what is today as well? Because we don't have those buried, hidden things behind it. Because those things belong at the table too. Of course they do. I'm certainly not against joyful, happy, beautiful things we're grateful for. I just want to make room for it all. I'm going to close with a poem written by Matt Haig. Thank you, Lee Pearson, for posting this, because it speaks perfectly to what I'm asking us to consider. It's taken from his book entitled The Midnight Library. And he writes, "It's easy to mourn the lives we aren't living, easy to wish we had developed other talents, said yes to different offers. Easy to wish we had worked harder, loved better, handled our finances more astutely, been more popular, stayed in the band, gone to Australia, said yes to the coffee, or done more bloody yoga. It takes no effort to miss the friends we didn't make, and the work we didn't do, the people we didn't do, the people we didn't marry, the children we didn't have. It's not difficult to see yourself through the lens of other people and to wish you were all the different kaleidoscopic versions of who they wanted you to be. It is easy to regret and keep regretting ad infinitum until our time runs out. But it is not the lives that we're not living that are the real problem. It is the regret itself. It's the regret that makes us shrivel and wither and feel like our own and other people's worst enemy. We can't tell if any of those other versions would have been better or worse. Some of those lives are happening. It is true. But we are happening as well. And that is the happening that we have to focus on. So may we remember the purposes of our lives, and may we bless the many forms that those take, honoring each for their gifts, and folding each of these things into the impressions of our wholeness. May we never look at pipe cleaners again the same. May we never take our life for granted. May we not try to flatten it out, but to see the beauty in the ripples. Amen. I'll invite us now into a spirit of prayer, meditation, contemplation. Spirit of holidays and holy days, may we make and see the blessedness in the mess that is our humanness. May we allow ourselves the space to forget, to take things for granted, to not show up on time. May we give all those around us that same grace, the gift of allowance, forgiveness, the gift of saying, you do not need to show up any other way than you are, because who you are is beautiful. May we see beyond the cosmetics of appearance and look instead at the realness of each and every creature around us. May we look into the eyes of those we know and don't know and see the beauty of life looking back at us, saying, let me be seen. May we see each other for the gifts, the complexities, the messiness, the stark beauty of grandeur. May we treat ourselves and all others with love and acceptance and kindness. For life is too short to live any other way. I invite us now into a time of quiet, silent meditation, contemplation, and prayer. invite you now to join our voices in the Lord's Prayer. I believe the words are also in your order of service. Our Creator, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the offering will now be gratefully received, with the proceeds benefiting the two churches and also Essex County Habitat for Humanity. Thank you, choir. And I'd actually invite you to join me in thanking the choir who was here in the cool dawn and willing to share their gifts of music and voice and song. Let's rise, embody your spirit, join in our doxology, followed by hymn number 262 and our unison benediction. Again, please join in our unison benediction. May the love which overcomes all differences, which heals all wounds, which puts to flight all fears, which reconciles all who are separated, be in us and among us now and always. My friends, as we go from this sacred and holy space and time together, may we go lifted up. May we enter into this season of holidays with the perfect balance for each of us between busyness and stillness, between holiness and outright mischievous joy. May we go accepting all that is our life. And may we go from this place lifted with the promise of hope, with the meaning of connection, and with the holiness of truth in our hearts and in our eyes. Go in peace, my friends, and let's return again in great joy. Amen and blessed be.